was confident. I didn't place any of American currency on it because I wanted to be organic with my elation. In fact, I did have American currency on Bryce and DeChambeau to win the Masters. But I think do you get the sense that Rory might have been unlocked by what happened last month?
Oh, positively. I mean, if what he did on that Sunday was not a greater display of someone who has been either burdened or tormented, or I mean, we can go on. Yeah. I mean, but it doesn't guarantee anything. However, it is absolutely 100% true that whatever it is that any of us can feel, if there's something we're either in pursuit of, or something that's bothered us, and we feel like we have a chance to exercise what that is, it doesn't mean that it's easy to do it. It could be the hardest thing in the world to do it, and he's done it. And now that he's done it, I do not think a level of complacency that there's nothing else I can do is going to set in. That would be natural to some degree. What I think we're going to see is Rory 2.0, and I don't know how long this chapter is going to be somebody who's going to be freed up and is going to win, a couple more majors. Who knows? Adam, he won 4 in what felt like the blink of an eye. Yep. Why can't he win 4 over the next 5 years?
He won 4 in a span of what? 11 majors? Was it? I think 15 majors, right? Between the U.S. Open in 2011 at Congressional, on a wet track, by the way, all the way through the PGA in 2014 when he won back-to-back the Open Championship at Royal Liverpool, and then at Valhalla. And he hadn't won since until the Masters. And this is going to be a wet track in Charlotte, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've gotten today has been not necessarily for the players a total washout, but very close to it. It was raining very, very hard. I live a mile from the club, so whatever they're experiencing, my neighborhood is experiencing. And they didn't permit any fans on the property at all today. They do have technology, so they can certainly remove a lot of moisture, but they cannot change the overall condition, which is soft.
Yeah,
and that's what it's going to be when they start on Thursday, because the forecast doesn't look particularly good until then. It actually doesn't look great the entire next 7 days.
Gary Williams has a home game this week. Are you going to drive to the course, or are you going to walk to the course?
I might sashay. I haven't done that in a while. I don't know if I would be picked up for being completely out of my mind.
Yeah.
It is very nice, though, I will say. And I also will say this, Adam, I mean this. There are a lot of people who are a little fatigued by Quail Hollow. It has an event every year on the PGA Tour. It's had the President's Cup. It had a PGA Championship. What was in this generation, which was 2017, won by Justin Thomas.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna sit here and jump up and down by people saying, you know what, I wish it was somewhere else. I get it. I totally get it.
Oh, I have no problem. Like, look, we use some courses that have a PGA Tour event on them every year. Pebble Beach is a U.S. Open every 10 years. Maybe the PGA does these things a little bit more frequently. We go to Valhalla, it's not 10 years in between, PGA championships at Valhalla. It certainly hasn't been 10 years. It's been 8. I mean, it's not like 2017 was yesterday. So
No, it's not. But the point is that there is a signature series event at Quail Hollow every year on the PGA Tour. Valhalla doesn't have that luxury. And right. Pebble Beach is Pebble Beach, and so people give it a pass. But my point is, I've already heard some criticism of why Quail Hollow again, and I'm not here to stand in defense of those who think that there are other markets that are deserving, because there are. There sure. Absolutely are.
Yeah, but what's interesting here is that, like, a place like Oak Hill in Rochester, New York, right? We'd love to see, like, because of the PGA Championship now being in May, it is pretty much almost eliminated not because the weather wouldn't be good for the event, but that the weather isn't good enough leading up to the growing season.
Very true.
So they can't grow enough grass to have a PGA championship in Rochester, New York, or Hazeltine in Minnesota, or maybe even Medina. So they can't even use those places.
No, they can. And look, they held their breath with Oak Hill. It wound up working out just fine. And even to a lesser, even Bethpage, which was year one of the May date. Oddly enough, and this was just kind of funny, that the coldest temperatures that they've had since moving to May was the weekend of Tulsa, which is normally like being inside a microwave if you're trying to zap a pizza.
Yeah.
It was weird that it was, but what it's done is that it's unlocked some potential areas of the country, including the Southwest, where they now have their anchor site in Frisco, where you do not want to go in August. And so now that's going to be on deck for 2027, and that's going to be every 7 years. And who knows, they may get to a 5-year cadence with PGA Frisco, after 2034.
Gary Williams, 5 Clubs Golf on Twitter. You can also follow him at Gary Williams 1UP. By the way, I know you had Jim Nantz on. I know you guys talked about Bryce and DeChambeau. We'll get to him in a second. But you referenced Tulsa. We already talked about 17 when Justin Thomas won his first PGA. His second was at Southern Hills in Tulsa. He's been trending, other than I apparently refused to make a putt this weekend. He's been trending in the right direction. This could be a good place for JT to get his third.
Oh, positively. He is, to his credit, look, if you look historically, there are very few players that did not have, whether it was one season or 2 seasons, where they kind of ebbed in the opposite direction from what was really the bulk of their Hall of Fame careers. And he's building a Hall of Fame career with 16 wins, 2 majors, as you pointed out, a Players' Championship. There's no doubt, and primarily it has been he's still not driving it exceptionally well, but he was 174th on the PGA Tour in strokes gained putting last year. He's 20th, and when he won at the Heritage, he made not only the putt in the playoff to win, he made a ton of putts of that length where you go, God, you got to make that. It's not 25 feet, but it's that 10 to 15 footer. And so he's become reliable again. And again, he is among the better iron players in the game. No reason to think. I think that there are 5 guys that if it's not we're not at a Tiger or the Field thing where Scheffler maybe at some points last year kind of felt that way. I think that the winner is going to be one of 5 guys. And if it's not, I'll be particularly surprised if Justin Thomas is one of those 5 guys.
Gary Williams is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Considering he's got 4 wins in 13 starts at Quail Hollow, why isn't it Rory versus the field?
Yeah, you could do that, and he is actually not even the betting favorite by a very modest margin. It's Scotty Scheffler a little bit over him. I think people are playing, odds. It's hard as hell for anybody to win 2 majors in a year, let 2 in a row. I will say this. You pointed something out, and it's actually Rory McIlroy, who is the last guy to win majors in consecutive months. Spieth won the first 2 majors of 2015, but that was when there was a gap between the Masters and the U.S. Open with no PGA until August. So it's actually Rory who's done it. My only hesitation is the idea of climbing to the summit again so quickly after getting there, and it's really I'm playing an intangible aspect of it more so than the fact that he finished 7th this past week and felt like he played very, very average. If he's not in the mix, I'll be very, very surprised, and that's why I think we have a chance, Adam, for this to be a lathered up, oh my God, look at that leaderboard kind of thing come Sunday. I really believe that.
I think if you look at the odds, I think the odds have a very real chance of resembling our last 3, 4, 5 groups on Sunday. The one guy who was in the top 5 in terms of betting odds that I don't have a lot of faith in is John Rahm. What do you make of Rahm's lack of, I don't know, success in majors over the last couple of years?
Yeah, again, it's not been good. It's been a stretch here, and I went back, Adam, and I actually looked, and even, and I mean this in a relative sense, Tiger after 2002 at the Open Championship, when he actually had won the first two majors, and then he went there. And my dad and I, and it was a great day because I was with my father, but we followed him all 81 blows when he was paired with Mark O'Meara on that Saturday at Muirfield. When a gale came rolling in, he shot a zillion, and that blew his chances of winning, 3 majors in a row. My point is, he had a stretch from that period until he won the Masters in 2005, where he only had a couple of top tens, and he had he was kind of in that 15 to 20, top 25 range. And same thing of Phil. Phil had a stretch. The only ones, Jack never, ever had a period where he went where it was like he never even contended at all. This happens to almost every great player, but I don't think this is accidental. I do not think this is just one of those things that happens. I think that Jon Rahm struggled with getting acclimated to being in an environment which was not something he grew up wanting to do, which was to play on a tour other than the PGA Tour. He took the money. He's got to live with it. I do not think LIV is built around preparing its players best to cycle to their best places in terms of their minds and their bodies for those 4 weeks of the year, which is the major weeks. When you are hopscotching all over the place to Mexico City to Korea in advance of the PGA, really? That's the best way for them to prepare for majors? So I'm with you, and let me add this one caveat. And who knows? Maybe he jumps up and he has a good week. He doesn't like Quail Hollow. He never really has. If you look at his history there, his record is spotty. He didn't commit and was not a loyal participant at this event where most of the top players came here every year, the few exceptions being Scheffler, who was loyal to Texas events, and that's what prevented him from playing literally every week during the month of May.
Right.
Spieth was the same thing when he became the number one player in the world. He skipped Charlotte because it also was during a time when the Colonial is the week after the PGA. Same thing with the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson, so on and so forth. I'm like you. I'm not feeling Rahm this week for a couple of reasons. He doesn't like the place, and I just don't think right now his heart and mind is in the best place it can be for major championship golf.
I think Bryson DeChambeau will be a factor, but I think he's going to be a factor in every major. He also, I know you follow Justin Ray. Justin Ray was pointed out that on that course, and it's only been 8 rounds, DeChambeau by a mile has been the best putting from between 10 and 15 feet over on that golf course. He's going to have a ton of looks. He has a great chance to finish second behind Rory.
No, you're right. His not only his putting stat, which you just pointed out from Justin. I had Justin on my show last Wednesday, and you want to talk about a guy who will blow your hair back with just these great, factoids and nuggets. And I asked him, I told him in advance, I said, look, here's some things I want you to share with people. Not obviously me not knowing what the answers were. He talked obviously about Scheffler, he talked about Rory. He shared that nugget about DeChambeau. And here's the other thing about Bryson overall with respect to his putting. The reason he was in that final group on Sunday of the Masters was not his iron play, and it was not his driving. It was his putter. He has become, and I don't like the look of it. I think it looks incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And very, very, it doesn't matter what the aesthetic is, though. The point is that guy is a reliable putter. And when he does have a good week with his irons and he does drive the ball, and here's the other advantage he's got, like Rory does, like Scheffler, like Justin Thomas, they can overwhelm this golf course. And when they do have misses, which everyone's going to, the rough this week is legit. It is uniformed. It is dense, overseeded ryegrass, which the PGA Tour, when they have the event here annually, they top it off at 1 3/4 inches. This is going to be 3-inch rough, and it's going to be mowed in the direction back toward the tees. Guys who have speed, who have power, who can advance the golf ball, not just close to the green, but onto the green with height, like Bryce and Ken, have a decided advantage.
No doubt about it.
He will factor.
Oh, yeah. He's going to me, he's going to be a factor at every major because he's one of those players. I look at his putting as mechanical, but hey, if you're mechanical and everything's aligned, it could work beautifully. Do you have a pick other than Rory McIlroy?
Yeah, I picked Bryson.
Yeah.
I think he's winning. You look at, and the one major that he has got to figure out a way to be more competitive in it is the Open Championship.
Right.
It was the Open Championship and it was Augusta National. The last 2 years, he has found out his own formula to play his way into contention. So 2 years in a row at Augusta National, nobody's been better outside of Xander Schauffele in terms of what he's done at the PGA Championship. He was excellent at Oak Hill. He was the last line of defense to Xander at Valhalla last year. He will win the PGA this year at Quail Hollow. I pick him to win.
Other than Rory.
Other than Rory, yes.
Hey, I joked with my kid. I'll leave you on this, Gary Williams. I joked with my son, who's become a Rory fan because otherwise I think I might have to tell him to leave. Before the season started, that Rory was going to win all of them. So far I'm not wrong. So far.
No, you're not. And I listen. I'm not getting us to Portrush, but he's 4 rounds from going to Oakmont halfway home.
Yeah,
and 4 rounds at his most comfortable, happiest of haunts is not only is it not a long shot. If he's not in contention late, it will be the biggest surprise to me of the whole week. More so than Scheffler, more so than Bryson. Yep. Rory McIlroy is in a place that we have not seen him before, and that is unburdened, unfettered, totally liberated from a 10-year pursuit to not only complete the career Grand Slam, to win any major.
Yeah.
And now he comes home to a place that's personal to him where he won for the first time, and he even showed up at the President's Cup a couple years ago incognito because he has such a relationship with the Harris family that obviously has been the patriarchs of this club. That guy is going to be a pain in the ass to defeat this week. There's no doubt.
I didn't even know he showed up at that President's Cup. I want to talk to you about that again down the road. Gary Williams, at Gary Williams 1UP on Twitter, 5 Clubs Golf. You are a gentleman. I appreciate your time, sir.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Good luck Game 4. My cousins who are season ticket holders to the Hurricanes, they'll be losing their minds tonight.
All right, well, have them hit me up. I would like to say hi.
Okay, very good.
Thank you very much. Gary Williams here on The Adam Gold Show.